a yet another interesting incident of my life. It happened in Hyderabad. So, while attending a seminar on religion and politics in Hyderabad, I was curious to know religious or otherwise the seminars were themselves. What was it? Of the so there was a good about 30 eminent people were invited for that seminar, and of all the 30 sitting around the table, two declared themselves atheists, and three declared themselves in introduction only agnostics. The remaining 25 being Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, and Parsi. They did not think it necessary to say anything about their personal beliefs. It was apparent from their exterior. Surprisingly, the only participant who somehow aggressively asserted the religiosity were the four Christians. Two being foreign missionaries, they did not merit much attention, but the other two were from Kerala. And the youngest of the group went out of their way to proclaim their adherence to the church. One of them, Mr. Babu Joseph, he presented all seminarists a copy of his book titled Failure of Marxism. Failure of Marxism, Victory of Jesus. Joseph, who looked up to be still in his 20s, is a professor and a convener of the Christian Librarian Movement. Christian Liberation Movement, I repeat, sorry. What they seek liberation from, I could only make out from the quotation from Saint Jude at the beginning of the book he has written. For some godless men have slipped in unnoticed among us, who distort the message about the grace of our God, to excuse their immoral ways and reject Jesus Christ, only our Master and Lord. So it was very clear and evident, and surely he was evidently the Marxist. And Kerala is the land of communism, and the Marxism is surviving anywhere in the world. It's only in the Kerala. But to describe the godless, what surprises me or surprised me, to describe the godless, there was atheists sitting, there agnostics sitting among us. To describe the godless as the immortal is a gratuitous falsehood. I know many of men and women, most of men and women, I know very well, I met them, who deny God are to my knowledge more truthful, helpful, kinder, and more considerate in their dealings with others than men of religion. They are certainly class apart, different from the people who call themselves the men of religion. What surprised me the most was the youngest and the comeliest of the participant, Thangam Jacob, was also immersed in Christianity. So I thought to question her, a young lady, question her on the quiet during a coffee break. And when I did so, asked her a few questions about Christianity and religion, she exposed me in front of the whole assembly, causing me much embarrassment. I tell you. I'll tell you about this embarrassment a little later at the end of my talk, because we'll digress. Otherwise, we'll digress simply in the, and what happens in the discussion, that is my main issue to share with you and talk to you, my friends. In the discussion, several suggestions were made about the kind of religion that people should have and the limits to its ritualistic observation so that it did not become an imposition on others. One suggestion which no one took very seriously at the time when it was made by a environmentalist, a Muslim fellow, Mr. Zafar, who described himself as nominally a Muslim. He said, somewhat very feebly, sheepishly, I thought that the religion of the future must be concerned with ecology. But the more I thought about it, later the more convinced I was that there was a lot to what he was saying. Great meaning. I was convinced what he said. Very logical. If you go on destroying, my friends, our forests, go on polluting our streams, rivers, with a whole lot of noxious waste, and we go on polluting our air with poisonous fumes to to petrol and coal, we are in fact asking for disaster. We don't know who, yeah, nature. We believe this that it has been created, given to us by God, or some agnostic and atheist. They may say they may some yet undiscovered power, nature, but someone has created this beautiful environment for us to live and survive. My dear friend, of the discussion, of the entire discussion, the gist of it, which comes to my understanding, that there no amount of temple going, no amount of visiting mosques, churches, or gurdwaras, or chanting holy scriptures, mantras, and recitations of holy books is going to help us in committing mass suicide, mass harakiri, if we continue destroying our environment or ecology the way we are doing. Lot has been talked about, but the very less has been actually done. Or maybe it cannot be, it is unmanageable with the increasing population. It is increasingly difficult to manage our environment and ecology. We've had these several religious movements you see worldwide, primarily contented with preservation of natural phenomena. But you all know that that they did not make the kind of impact they should have made overall on the economy and the environment of the world. I was posted in Rajasthan. I spent about 14 years with troops, and I was greatly impressed and really admire. The outstanding example are the Bishnois of the Rajasthan, who are very ferociously dedicated to saving trees and animals' life. You cannot go on hunting and kill any deer or cut any tree. You asking for a bloody disaster. They can go to any length to sort you out if you get into this kind of adventure there. You need this kind of uh, obsession to protect your environment. The preservation of I have enormous respect for all those Vishnois. And let me tell you, if the Vishnois could not include the preservation of human life, because I stayed with them, I have seen they have a very high incidence of crime of crime and violence among themselves only. If they can sort out this, we would have a ecological religion going on a national scale. This is what is required. Before I end my talk, I must tell you what happened with Thangam Jacob when I asked her a question. I simply asked her during a coffee break, how does a young and a pretty girl like you get so involved in a claptrap of religion, get so influenced by this religious thought. She kept quiet, she did not answer, just smiled. But after the break, when we went back to the seminar in the conference hall again, the round table sitting, she simply says she has got up and announced to the whole assembly that Colonel Zahid Siddiqui asked me why a young and a beautiful girl like me has turned to religion. And I gave him an answer now. And my answer is, she said, that I am young and beautiful because my religion had made me so. It was a huge, everybody laughed, but I was pink with embarrassment. I did learn a lesson, a beautiful lesson. I shared with you. Moral of my encounter with Thangam Jacobs was that whenever make a, that you should never make a private pass at a girl or a lady who publicly proclaims adherence to God. It's dangerous. My dear friends, whatever faith you have, whatever faith you believe in, whatever sect, religion, caste you belong, I only simply ask you to learn to sweat and work hard to make the world a better place to live and a safer place to live. And protect your environment. Learn to sweat. Vishnois, I gave you the example. पसीने की करो पूजा गरीबी भाग जाएगी जरा सा मुस्कुरा दो पसीने की करो पूजा गरीबी भाग जाएगी जरा सा मुस्कुरा दो मेरे दोस्त उदासी भाग जाएगी जो चेहरे पर हंसी होगी तो पड़ोसन गाल चूमेगी मुंह लटका के बैठोगे तो बीबी भी भाग जाएगी थैंक यू वेरी मच